Hi there. So, this is my first Sunday spirit. So now I feel the days. And tomorrow, well, I'll do this day beforehand. And it's my birthday as well. So I thought that was great for celebrating. I think you can I usually, not in a self-centered way, but in a celebratory way, I used to buy something to myself specifically to kind of celebrate my greater self. And as well as I would around Christmas or those celebrations times, I've done that since I was, I guess maybe I've done that for many years actually. And I like that. So I think to celebrate yourself or your kind of greater self or inner self or whatever, every day would be good, but at least we're alive, you know. Anyways, I chose this today as a little star. There. Also, I have this cup instead today. Ganesha, and I'm on it, I mean. And here are the rune packets. Maybe I think I've shown you the runes sometimes, right? I will show a few of them. Not that this is divination now, but if I hold them all up, maybe drop them. So I'll just pick a few. They're a little bit mixed with some other divination tools that I have for myself. These are what they kind of look like. Righto. Yeah. Strength. Yeah. So what about that then? I mean, I have now Monday messages, Tools Tuesday, Whisper Wednesday, Themes Thursday, Friends Friday, Soul Saturday, and Sunday Spirit. And I think that's the Sunday Spirit then, because they can, as you know, spiral in another direction. So I thought that maybe I can try to keep this on the brighter side. So let's see. Didn't want to. So, I will use this incense holder today. It's a Buddha. It's actually what I needed to put some water onto it because it was a lot of stuff there. I didn't clean it though, but I thought I would have that here. Maybe I should actually have it so you can pick up on the smoke. I don't know where to put it. I would just have it on the side here for now. Or maybe I can put it even closer by her there. Or here, maybe actually. Oh, I don't want to burn this. It's quite long. I think I would just keep it there for now. So I just wanted to say hello and I don't know, happy birthday to myself. No, but thank you so much for comment. And yeah, that's right, Jessica, and you are role plays and creative woman. Oh, what are those sounds now? A helicopter of sorts. Either that or sometimes, you know, those little what are they, those tiny ones that they can steer around, you know. But But this sounds more deep, like an helicopter, right? Yeah, it's one. Yeah. I just saw it flying by like a yellow sun. I was thinking about those zombie cards now. It looked like that. Yeah, since I kind of picked out some of my essential oils yesterday and tried to order things. Also I think about since I don't put much words into what I do. I mean, I do magic much more than I think. I mean, like practically, physically in that form. But yeah, I never really think about it. It's quite part of everything that I do, really. Many things that I do when I shower. There is this exercise, for example, where you can. This is from the Muneki. You can, and many of these things are tools to be used. Maybe it's not like actually so, but still it helps the focus. So if you then kind of unlock your chakras, you take your hand and kind of move them counterclockwise, like the energy a little bit. It's like you open them. You start with the root and then open them up to the crown chakra, and then that let when you shower, you kind of, or for part of the time when you shower, you let this, or you concentrate on focusing on the energy, cleansing your energy, and then you kind of screw them back on, but then you move them backwards from, I guess, yeah, it depends how you would like it. Anything you do just as it feels fine to you, but it could be good to kind of know about energy, or know those who know, if nothing else, that those who see the energy and so on. Because of course, since you can balance energy, you can also make it unbalanced. But you would feel that if that something's off, I guess. Yeah, and so that kind of moving back in the right direction again afterwards. I don't do that every time, but many times, and there are just things that I generally do that I don't think of much, you know. But anyways, I also have these boxes of much stuff since I cleansed, or not cleansed, but was like ordering things. I thought that, okay, I can check these out also, just for no actual reason. And where I have like some stuff that I use sometimes when I want to make some kind of like more practical kind of magic. For example, I don't know if you can see here, I have some, I don't know, maybe I should keep it here. It's because incense now. Here's some moons, aren't they beautiful? And stars. And there is suns, I mean, various colored suns, like rainbow colors, and stars there, also silver and goldy. These are like confetti stuff, but still. So it's just, I mean, I saw it in just a general store. Maybe I forget that I can maybe tap on stuff. Maybe just moving a bit sounds great to someone, I don't know. But I love them, especially I guess the moons. Yeah. Tiny ones that I like to kind of, it's for me the whole practical thing of it have so much to do with the enthusiasm, or maybe sometimes the need, if something is really important. And then you may not feel enthusiastic as such, but you still have strong intent and emotions connected to it. But most of the time, when I feel that I want to do something practical as such, it's the like when you want to paint or you want to sing or dance, or it's like that. That's the sense I have about it. The play, it's like fun, although it's serious. It still have that joyousness about it, you know. So it doesn't matter as long as it talks to me and brings things to me, you know. And also I figure that I also have made some for others sometimes, and here I have found notes. I thought that I had them in notebooks, but I have several of these kinds of just quickly like scribbled down whatever. Yeah, here I have some kind of spray I made for someone. Writing down also the intent, because I wrote a better note to that person. But usually I have the dates at least on them. There is not a date even. For some purpose that was. And I save all kinds of things, like, you know, suddenly you can have use for it. I didn't mean to do that. And I like things like this. I mean, all kinds of things can be used in magic, you know. You can put something there and do something with it. Everything that has some sort of energy and meaning, and especially if someone have then carried it, or it have a lot of their energy. Obviously, if it would be like for a phone, or yeah. And I do that also. That seems maybe very awkward when you think about it, but I used to. I mean, if someone write to me, or if someone leaves something that have a close connection to them personally, I tend to savor those things, and I know who they belong, what they belong to. I mean, if someone writes you usually know who wrote you, but I mean, even like other things, and it's not. I mean, you can use, as I said, anything in any for any purposes, but I just it's like in the back of my mind kind of thing. I just do that, and yeah, that have come in handy. Sometimes, you know, when people strongly need help for healing, or it can be something else, you know, you have that clear connection to them then in another way, for example. Yeah, and just like the little bottles like this everywhere. And these types of spray bottles, pump spray, it's like for soap, I guess. But I made a magical soap one. Maybe I should tap on this a bit. Some kind of that actually was awesome. Very minty and such, but then again, yeah, as I said, I don't actually usually do things in that practical manner. But if sprays I do sometimes, as for those essential oils and so on, and spray around in the room and for whatever purposes. Yeah. And here, actually, I moved around a bit. I do that a lot. And here I have some stones, just common stones, but they are from the graveyard. Yeah. Not from a grave, though. From other of those permanent markers that I want to smell. Yeah. For various purposes. Also the colors, they have their vibration and intent in themselves, And also a lot of those kinds of bottles, these kinds of, what is that now? Powder of sorts. As well as cords, a lot of various kinds of cords. And actually, I've not used this, but you could. I bought it to be used. It's like here, if you can put like what it's in there, the weight if you want, or dates. I thought that maybe for actually you could have that for. This is also bought in a regular store, like for I don't know, whatever items. But I thought it could be easy just to, even if you don't patch it onto a bottle or whatever, you could have it in a notebook, like, and write the intent and the date and so on, what it contains, and in a more, or I mean in a less random, crazy way, And then I have those. A couple of those. I think I'm gonna have it on the side here. And a lot of whatever kinds of this kind of collect kind of sort of things. What is this now? Cards with just envelopes. I have a lot of these things also. As I said, I love these things even if I haven't used it. Those are black cards and envelopes. For specific reasons. And I have also a lot of different kinds of candles. Scented ones as well. This was some colored ones. And like fake money. Children's. They can be used, so the intent is the important thing here. Yeah. And also these old bottles that I've had for Ayurveda that is empty now. I can reuse all kinds of other bottles or things where I've had herbs and so on. The intent of that, since they are made in a magical way, and the energy that they contain and the purposes of them, if I can sometimes reuse that to fill it up with something else or so on, but still in accordance with that intent or energy in those oils or herbs or so on. So I tend to save them. A lot of these are those who have had like sparkles or glitters. They're kind of plastic, just, but still. Suddenly you need them. And all kinds of, this is like tiny bottles, and I have those little ones for where you have had those pure vanilla in, or tiny ones. As well as like salsa bottles. And bunches of these kinds of things, like, whatever. These kinds. I would love to have it ordered like on shelves like that. how beautiful that would be. But maybe I will in time, and different kinds of things to put things into, you know. And this is one of those smaller glittery ones, but I have a lot of those. Many colors and all kinds of things. And this is actually one of the cauldrons, you could say, that I used to use beforehand a little bit. Now I wonder where I have that. Oh, it's here a bit away from me. I will make a lot of sound if I go pick that up. I think I wait with that then. But I have an iron little one with a pentacle onto it, like those that are made for witchy things, and it's just, I like it. It's more those I don't like to add so much. I mean, both because I haven't had so much to buy things for, but also it doesn't matter the outer things, aside from just the feel you get from it, that you kind of find it fun and beautiful and lovely and so on. To adorn things, is that the way you say it? That's like, that can have an impact on your focus and intent and so on, your sense about something. But it doesn't really add to the efficiency of for example, a spell or so. It's not needed. So sometimes I get a little bit when it seems to be all about what you can buy and where you can buy it, and those, I don't know. Here are some sparkles left. There's a little heart, I think. Actually, I forgot that also. I have several moon-shaped, both in all kinds of ways. Certain things, like bowls and stuff. Like, you know, yeah. Various kinds, you know, with full moon. Whoa! With full moon and to, like, the waning and waxing moon and so, and sides and so, both like that. Lots of candles. I should have candles in one place, but apparently I don't. This is walnut and vanilla. Oh yeah, it's kind of great. Maybe I should actually lit this. Sometimes they are too strong or not too great, but this I think is awesome. I think this was from it seems like it's from India store. Put that aside here. It's called cashmere. So, and just this, just the lid you can use to have something in there, I feel. Okay. And this actually smells awesome. I've forgotten what's in there, but awesome. And just regular candles of sorts as well. You can actually reuse things like this as well. For these have been like those incense holders, I guess, and if you also don't want to be so public with your the magic you do, you can put stuff in those secret places. Another one of those. and a lot of these kinds of different colored what is it called, plates and such. Here is one of those boxes, one of those for herbs that you can reuse. It's a little bit of herb left there though. So this is have a specific. Oh, it smells so good. Oh, so specific purpose, and they sing mantras when they make those. They have been practicing this. Those come from Nepal. They have made them in their family tradition for 700 years, and they are made in a very magical way. So I also want to keep. I mean, these they are actually checked in Western standards, because sometimes those who come from wherever can contain a lot of stuff that aren't so healthy. So I guess they are repackaged also, but still, yeah, they certainly are. They say in Swedish on it, so. I even keep stuff like this sometimes, paper stuff that I can use for something. And all kinds of bottles. And another smaller bottle. Bunch of these, various kinds of colors. Here's another super spray bottle. Easy. Easy breezy. And if you make creamy stuff more, you can. Those that you can open like that. But I like those old, looks like old medicine. I don't know. I love those. What else? These kinds of things. I also have those kinds of capped chicken. Use. And those who have contained tea also have a specific. I mean, all the herbs in tea have meaning and purpose in themselves, or correlations, if you would say. And these also have a lot of these kinds that are. I don't wonder where the lid is to this one, but that some of them have come from my grandparents and so on, and I've just had them on the shelf or something, and still it's their energy in it. This is actually from my grandma. 2 of those. I should actually have them for little candles. They're quite cute, aren't they? For those tiny candles. Oh, sorry. Huh. Like flowers. Oh. And various kinds of those kinds of bottles, as I showed us, that is was that you could see through, and it's a little bit darker one, and then an even darker one there. And then I have a lot of those various colors of these also, like jars just. And smaller ones like this. And as I said, since colors really do have purpose, it means something, this little pink thing around here, to me. If I should use it, I actually have that have some meaning to me. As I said, nothing fancy there, but still stuff. Such a laugh. That I should organize a little bit more, maybe at least have candles at one place. I used to get on with that sometimes, so I start out and then I stray. So some candles I have on one place, all of them, but then I used to spread it around. Do you see this incense anything or not? And also I used to, I will actually move a bit. I'm sorry if I make a lot of sounds now with my fancy office chair. I think I could probably reach it. Look how good that went. So here is this that I talked about, this little... Oh, come with that side. Whoop. It represents the womb of the goddess, or and like the creation. Yeah, that's so cute. Just because of the cuteness, I wanted it. I have used it in magic, though. Yeah. I mean, practical. Yeah. So we should have that there then. Or maybe not even. Maybe here. Maybe. I don't know. No, I'll put it this way. Yeah, so also when it comes to spices, as also herbs and such in that, I save those that are old, so I have quite a lot of those also, because that I can use. I mean, it's more potent if it's more new. It depends what you want it for, but I have a lot of those, and since they make crinkly sounds, I thought maybe I should show you without burning it up. Here is like one old flower. Some I don't even know actually. What is this? Oh, this is mint, like mint things. I mean, to show you, maybe I will show you a few of them, but as you understand, I have quite. I have like a whole shelf with old spices for this purpose. Yeah, and yeah, this was actually opened. Some of them, since I kind of buy them in larger packages, sometimes they are not even opened. Most of them would be them, though. This is mustard seeds, whole peppers, can always come handy. Here are some grained peppers. I love peppers. I forget that you maybe want me to do this. And coriander. I'm not an expert on those doing sounds things. I'm too impatient for it, honestly. And I'm mostly vegan. By the way, watch this Mellow Microphone if you like, if you're interested in ASMR, and also his weight journey. He lost, what did he say, 140 pounds, is that LBS? Yeah, anyways, a lot, and yeah, well, he talked about also almost going overboard in the other direction, which is easy when you went to vegan for like a year or what it was, and now usually I eat vegan foods, but it doesn't really mean that you need to be specifically healthy though to eat that, and also you need to eat much more of it than you think. So he lost quite a lot of weight there, but anyway, so I suddenly got such cravings for it. I don't even like eggs usually, but then I wanted egg, and I'm so impatient. So when it comes to that, I like them not when you have them, if you want to have them on a sort of sandwich or so, then or however I eat them. Actually, I don't like them hard boiled. I want them like not the center of it anyways. So, and also I'm so impatient, so I usually don't wait until even the white there is like more sturdy. I mean, yeah, holds up, and it irritates me every time. Oh, that I can't wait. I know that it takes like maybe a minute more, but I still will not wait. And since I do that every time, now it was a long time though since I ate egg, but I got reminded today when I did how silly that is to know it and still do it every time again and again. Yeah. Curry. Ginger. A lot of these are apparently open. Another peppers. Yeah, black pepper. I guess I have the most of. These are what are those flowers called? Seeds for poppies, maybe they're called in English. Poppy seeds. This is oh, I don't know. Smells great. I don't recall what they are called. You have them. You can put them into oranges, you know, around Christmas time. And here are 7 blended spices in this for like oriental ones. Yeah, stuff like that. And as I said, these are just the ones that have actually expired the date. So I don't use them. I don't like use them in food. But those are the things that I would go to look up. I mean, if I want to do some practical things, I go and explore there what I feel is right for me at the time. And also I have a huge package of these kinds of cinnamon here that are also old. Dragon. Or like a box, other kinds of peppers, and I don't know, muscadine. The many oregano, I say? Oregano, thyme. Yeah. Don't need to show you really. So. Rosemary, I'm sure I have. Yeah, there. Always have rosemary. Yeah. I use the newer one though. But I mean, yeah. I have them like in stock. I have a lot of other herbal spices as well. Let's see. Mayram. I don't know what these are called in English though. Another oregano. These are actually awesome. What are they called? I don't know. I mean, for health reasons. Here they're called amber. But you can actually go pick them yourself. Oh, how nice, huh? But for if you have, problems with your joints or so on, this really drives out that acid in them. Very magical and very great. So I won't go through all my spices, but I also have this tikka, or I think you can call it shunga, or no, that's not the right word. I forgot, but it's very healthy, and you can. They are growths from a tree, like a mushroom kind of thing, you could say. But they contain so much of those. What is that called in English then? Antioxidants. Yeah, like if let's say berries contain, maybe 1,000 times more than berries. So to cook them, and then you can say it's. They look almost like. It depends on how you obviously keep them, but look like some sort of maybe something else. But anyways, it's so you can use it over and over, and keep the water that you have. You don't boil it really. You just let it simmer. Is that the word? For a little while, and until it gets darker, and then you can keep it in the water in the fridge. And that's really, really great. So I have that, but I don't have that here. But all things that are useful, as such, can also obviously be used in magic and have that strong. Mostly they have that strong influence then too. So I wonder now. I actually read a beautiful thing. Maybe I should read that since I don't have a lot to talk about. This was from the Correllian tradition, and I think that's called that, right? But it was about. Let's see. It was about the. I thought it was so beautifully explained. If I can find it. Maybe not. Since I read that related to Diana, and so here it was very beautifully described. I will see if I can find it and maybe read it to you, because that actually was going very much along with my view on things, although I'm not part of this though. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, this here, like explained. This I'll read. This is an introduction to the Vangelo di Streghe, or however you would say that. One of the most sacred pieces of Wiccan literature is the Vangelo delle Streghe. This is a collection of legends preserved and passed down by generations of the Arabian witches of Italy. A little over a century ago, the Italian witch Maddalena, I don't have my glasses, I hope I can read it, gave a copy of the Vangelo to the famed folklorist Charles Godfrey Leland, on the understanding that he would publish it. The most important part of the Vangelo is the creation story it contains. This creation story is a sublime allegorical account of the creation of the physical world and the descent of spirit into matter. The story touches on very ancient themes and is reminiscent of the Greek myth of Ophion and Erinyme. I don't know that, though, I don't think. And the creation myth of the goddess Cybele. She, though, that have been very drawn to her. You must understand, however, that the stories in the Vangelo are meant to be understood as allegory, which is to say that these stories represent their subject subject, symbolically portraying it in a familiar, everyday form, rather than with abstract concepts. If you try to read these stories literally, they appear rather shallow and foolish. Only by understanding the Vangelos, human characters actually represent the timeless forces of nature and the universe, and that their actions portray the cosmic processes. Can you hope to get anything out of it? Madalena did not bother to explain this. She was willing to let people know more about the ancient Aradian Wiccan tradition, but she didn't want them to know too much. She knew that people who understood allegory would be able to read between the lines and appreciate what they found there. She is also supposed to have made certain alteration in the text, apparently for the purpose of secrecy, which leaves some confusion in the original text. But despite this, the text is of enormous value. Creation in the Vangelo. According to the Vangelo della Strega, Diana was the first created of all creation. In her were all things. In other words, Diana, or goddess, is primeval deity. She existed before the first beginning as chaos. God without form, existing in a void and having within herself the seeds of all things, both spiritual and material, all mixed up, without order or definition. Primeval deity is androgynous, having both feminine spirit or yin and masculine matter or yang elements, and is sometimes portrayed as such in myth and artwork. Other times, however, primeval deity is portrayed as feminine, since we think of primeval deity in association with the goddess, indeed as the higher self of the goddess. In this sense, primeval deity is identified with the crone goddess, the goddess in her aged state, having existed from before the dawn of time. This is the wisest and most knowing part of goddess, most commonly called Hecate. This is the goddess portrayed with greater or lesser respect of the whole Halloween's witch with pointed hat and broom. Anyways, I want to get to the interesting part here. For endless eons, primeval deity existed in the amorphous and undifferentiated state in the darkness before the first creation. At first aware of nothing, she slept, resting and recharging, gathering her energies, and merely being alone and complete in herself. But over the course of time, primeval deity began to stir, to become aware. First she became aware of her own existence. In time she began to think, to dream, to question, and to desire. She wondered, what would it be like to feel? What would it be like to move, to take action, to be able to receive sensation, to see, to taste, to hear? And so for eons, primeval deity thought and considered and wondered, and then, out of herself, the first darkness, she divided herself. Into darkness and light she was divided. The God, her brother and son, herself and her other self, was the light. Primeval deity divided herself. One became two. All of the physical, tangible, and volatile parts of primeval deity went into the God, who was the light. The God exploded into existence out of primeval deity in a shower of spark and flame that we remember as the Big Bang, the starting point of physical creation. All of the spiritual, ethereal, and eternal parts of primeval deity remained in the goddess. In this sense, the goddess is thought of as a continuation of primeval deity, since the consciousness of primeval deity is one of the spiritual parts that remained with her. The god spread out in all directions through the primordial void, a blaze of light and superheated matter. In time, his fire would cool into stars, and from stars into planets. As this happens, the vibration of the matter slows and it becomes more dense, seemingly solid. This slowing, cooling, and solidifying is described as falling into matter. Symbolically, the god is described as having fallen into 7 planes of existence. Some people say there are more, but since the divisions are not as exact as all that, the number is not as important as the concept. 7 is the ancient number based on the idea of the 7 Ptolemaic planets, that is the sun, the moon, and those planets visible with the naked eye. The 7 planets are from the lowest up: physical, emotional, mental, astral, solar, and egoic, monadic, and divine, or whatever words you would use for that, but anyway. We will talk later. The 7 planets are also sometimes called the 7 spheres or the 7 dimensions, all refer to the same basic concept. The Vangelo continues. And when Diana saw that the light was so beautiful, the light which was her other half, her brother the god, she yearned for it with exceeding great desire, wishing to receive the light again into her darkness, to swallow it up in rapture, in delight. She trembled with desire, and this trembling was the first dawn. But the god's light fled from her and would not yield to her wishes. He was the light which flies into the most distant parts of heaven, the mouse which flies before the cat. Seeing the beauty of the god, that is, of the physical universe, the goddess was entranced with desire, and she wanted it back. She had dreamed of seeing and tasting and doing, but being separate from the god, she could do none of this. She could only observe from the outside that which she had created. The goddess wanted the experiences she had dreamed of, and so she desired to take the created universe back into herself, but it wasn't that easy. The Vangelo tells how the goddess went to the oldest part of herself, primeval deity, who was still within her. The Vangelo calls primeval deity the mothers and fathers who were before the first creation, which emphasizes primeval deity's androgynous aspect. In other words, the goddess consulted her own higher self. In many ancient myths, notably the story of Demeter and Persephone, this same process is shown by the goddess entering Hecate's cave to take counsel from the eldest and wisest part of deity. In the Vangelo, Diana asked primeval deity how she can reunite with the god, how spirit could take matter back into itself. And the ancient one, primeval deity, the goddess's own higher self, answered in this way: to rise you must fall. To become the greatest of all goddesses you must first become a mortal. In other words, it was not possible for spirit simply to take matter back. If the goddess wished to reunite with the god, to be one with matter and experience it, she had to enter into the physical world. Only in that way could the goddess and the god reunite. And so Diana fell, that is to say, she descended through the 7 planes to the physical. She did this by dividing off parts of herself, the many souls, which she sent into the physical and placed onto physical forms. Each soul was to lead many lifetimes, going through many physical forms in the process. Reading this now, you are one of the lifetimes of one of those souls that are part of the great goddess. We're hearing this. We are her children, and we are also children of the god, for our existence is the accomplishment of their union.
The Vangelo describes this process in extremely symbolic terms. It tells how Diana took the form of a cat, the soul entering into material form, and in this way got close to the god. Then, resuming her own form, she made passionate love to him. Then, to maintain the union of spirit and matter, the goddess cast a spell. She sang a charm, and her voice was the buzzing of bees, and then Diana sat at her spinning wheel and began to spin the thread of life, and the god turned the wheel. In other words, having placed souls into matter, the goddess used the power of sound, that is vibration, to set the universe as we know it into motion. Energy is what holds all things together, from subatomic particles to galaxies of stars. The vibration of that energy, its movement, sometimes described as its frequency, is what makes it work and determines on what level it works. The denser or more physical a thing is, the lower its vibration or frequency is said to be. The more spiritual the energy, the higher its vibration is said to be. Vibration is comparable to sound, which can be a powerful magical tool. For this reason, the vibration of the universe at differing frequencies through each of the 7 planes or spheres is often described as the music of the spheres. Music and song have long been said. I wonder how long I can talk. Just a few minutes more. So I'm a little bit stressed now. I want to read all this. Used to blah, blah. Some can be used in this way to do. Music and song have long been used in many spiritual traditions as a means of affecting the vibrations of energy. Sound can be used in this way to disperse negative or unfocused energy, to break down psychic blockages, and to create or affect specific energetic forms. Sound is a very powerful tool precisely because sound or vibration is the very force the goddess used to set the wheel of life into motion. Called the goddess spinning wheel in the Vangelo della Strega, the wheel of life is a very ancient concept. It is represented annually by the sacred wheel of the year. From this wheel, the goddess spirit spins the thread of life. That is, she determines its nature and qualities, the lessons to be learned, and the things to be done and accomplished, the destiny of your, if you will. But the god matter, or perhaps more precisely physical experience, turns the wheel. As the goddess is the nature of life, the god is the process of living, the movement through the planes of existence. The goddess is the essential nature of the universe and of life itself. She provides the divine spark that animates all things. But the god carries that spark forward. The god is Lord of space and time, master of the temporal universe. In this aspect, he is called the Lord of the dance, for he leads the dance of life, facilitating experience and growth. Oh, there is more to be read, but I don't have time now. Well, I will just I will just leave it at that. If you want to hear it all, let me know and I will read it all. Okay. Thanks for listening, and talk to you soon. Yeah. I was hurried there, but I couldn't. But still, you get it a little bit though. Yeah. I thought it was nice. I hope you could pick some goodies up there. Yeah. Have a great Sunday and sunny Sunday. And talk to you. So I'm talking about the 7 planets and those 7 days of the week as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Thanks for joining me on the journey. Bye for now and much love.